Hey guys, welcome back to Do It Live, and we have a new segment for you called Hot and Steamy. We'll be taking a look at any of the Steam sales that are going on, if it's worth it to pick up any of the games, and how much you're saving on them. So to start, let's take a look at the Square Enix sale that's going on right now. There are a lot of games in the Square Enix sale, so let's do this alphabetically, shall we? So the first series that's part of the Square Enix sales is Deus Ex, and each game is 75% off. The first game was rated one of the best PC games of all time and is definitely an interesting series to get into. Most of the games take place in a dystopian future where you play as Coalition agent fighting against terrorist forces. The series is known for incorporating RPG, FPS, action, and adventure genres. I originally wanted to play Human Revolution when it came out, however there were some problems installing the game at launch, so I didn't end up playing and never got back to it. So if you're looking to get into the game, I'm sure a lot of the problems have been fixed by now. You can also buy the entire collection for 20% less than you would buying each individual game. If you're an RPG fanatic, you might have heard of the Dragon Quest series. The series made its impact on the PlayStation consoles, and there is currently no title on the PC. Don't be fooled, this is not an RPG game. This is a hack and slash developed by the team that brought you Dynasty Warriors. If you're a fan of Dragon Quest and enjoy the occasional Dynasty Warriors title, this would be right up your alley. It's crazy, but they've remastered almost all of the Final Fantasy games for the PC. This is exactly what I've been looking for a while as an avid RPG lover. Sad to admit, I used to emulate these so I can play them on the PC. I'm not exactly proud of it, but at least I can now own and play them properly on my computer. For the 2D and older 3D games, I personally recommend 4, 5, and 6, and since everyone raves about it, you might as well buy 7. They're all 50% off for this sale. For the newer 3D Final Fantasies, I know a lot of people dislike 13 and find the gameplay way too linear and easy. I do agree, it's like exploring the world in a straight line. However, if you're craving a 3D RPG with some stellar visuals, I wouldn't stop you from buying 13. Hell, I bought it and played here and there. Apparently, the subsequent sequels do a much better job, but I never got into Lightning Returns because I felt it might be boring to play one character for an entire 40 plus hours. That's just my opinion though. While Final Fantasy X was a great execution of having Final Fantasy Online, I feel that you may want to explore other games in this genre, as this might be slightly outdated. Also, the servers may not be as populated since a newer Final Fantasy Online game has been released. Just as a note, Final Fantasy 9, 10, and 14 are not part of this sale. Final Fantasy Type O is a port of an amazing action RPG game for the PSP. The gameplay is spot on and addictive. However, I have to say this feels like a port of a portable game. What do I mean by that? The stages and areas are very separated, the load times are quick but they are very frequent. That made me get tired of the game really fast, and I never ended up finishing it for this sole reason. The Hitman collection is also on sale for the next 5 days. The entire series is 75% off, and revolves around an assassin for hire named Agent 47. As Agent 47, you have many methods of eliminating targets that makes it quite enjoyable. My most recommended title of the collection is Absolution, as the mechanics have somewhat improved, and if graphics matter to you, you'll be able to manage. If you plan on buying all 5 games, I suggest looking at the Eidos collection, which I'll talk about later in the video. The Just Cuz series. I'll be honest, I originally wasn't sure what they meant by the name. Does the guy kill and blow stuff up just cuz? But a friend explained to me that it's pronounced Just Cause, which means that he has a good reason to do what he's doing. Man, was I dumb. Nevertheless, Just Cause is an open world action adventure series that gives you quite a bit of freedom in how you carry out your missions. Just Cause 1 and 2 are 75% off, and Just Cause 3 is 33% off if you're interested. If you wanted to get into the Just Cause series, now would be a good time to do it. But don't buy it just cause I suggested you to. I apologize for the crappy pun, but let's move on. The Thief series was beloved by many, up until the most recent iteration that seemed to do really poorly. In the series, you play as Garrett, a master thief in a Victorian-era world. As you would assume, the idea is to avoid combat and sneak around enemies. The first games were well known for their innovation in the stealth genre, using sound cues and a gauge to indicate how visible your character was. I also suggest looking at the Eidos Anthology if you're debating picking up the bundle. I have to say there aren't many games that I finished in one setting, but Tomb Raider was definitely one of them. As a kid I was always oddly afraid to play the Tomb Raider series on PlayStation, but coming off the hype of Uncharted for PS3, I wanted more stealth action games and Tomb Raider just came out. It was an amazing reboot to the series and a must play in my books. You play as Lara before she's the battle-hardened Tomb Raider we are familiar with, as you explore the island you've been shipwrecked on and try to save your crew at the same time. So I'm actually playing Rise of the Tomb Raider right now, but I will admit that for some reason I'm not rushing to complete the game. Some element to this game is missing from the prequel and I can't put my finger on it. It might be the story or the gameplay and setting aren't quite right. I feel like the stealth aspect that was in the last game isn't as rewarded or as frequent as you might want it to be. When you try to traverse the landscape of Rise of the Tomb Raider, you find that it's not very easy to use stealth around or it's just as rewarding to engage in battle. However, if you enjoyed the first Tomb Raider, the gameplay elements are somewhat intact and you're getting a good dose of what you loved in the first one. I'll just warn you again that I feel something is missing in this game. So I mentioned the anthology a couple times earlier and I wanted to save it for last. If you're thinking of picking up a few of the series I mentioned earlier, this bundle may be worth it. It includes the Deus Ex, Thief, and Hitman series, as well as Just Cause 1, 2, and Tomb Raider 1. You're saving about 40% off the separate games and bundles, plus you get games like Blood Omen 2, Kane and Lynch, and the Legacy of Kain series. Definitely a cheap and great Steam library filler. So taking a look at all of the games, to be honest I recommend Tomb Raider of course, as I played that myself, and the Game of the Year edition includes a lot of DLC that expands on the original game. If you're looking to get the earlier titles in some of these hit series, for example Thief, Hitman, Just Cause, and of course Tomb Raider, definitely pick up the Eidos Anthology bundle, because for $35 you're getting about 40 games, and of course there's a lot of other games that aren't part of the sale like Kane and Lynch and Legacy of Kain. For titles like Just Cause 3 and Rise of the Tomb Raider, I'd suggest waiting on them for just a bit, as they are relatively new and their prices are bound to drop eventually. If you want to get into the earlier titles of those series, I suggest doing that for this sale, but let's wait for some better sales on those hit games. If you can't wait, definitely pick them up, but for now, I'd suggest waiting to save your money. I've had a few requests for this segment, so I'd love your opinion. Let me know in the comments below what you'd like added to the video, what information you think I missed out on, and what would help the video grow stronger. Again, if you guys like our segments and want updates as soon as they come out, don't forget to subscribe.